The year is 1942. The United States has just entered World War II, and the nation is gripped by paranoia. The attack on Pearl Harbor is still fresh in everyone's minds, and fears of a Japanese invasion are still consistent. In Los Angeles, the city is under strict blackout orders. Air raid drills are frequent, searchlights sweep the skies at night, and anti-aircraft artillery stands ready. On the night of February 24th, 1942, it seemed these fears turned to reality. What began as a quiet, normal evening soon turned into chaos and confusion. By the end of the night, the city would be shaken, and a mystery would be born, one that remains unsolved to this day. Shortly after midnight, military radar operators detected a large unidentified object roughly 120 miles west of Los Angeles. At first, the context seemed routine, possibly a false alarm or an approaching weather balloon. But as the object moved closer to the coast, alarm bells began to ring. It wasn't behaving like any known aircraft. The decision was made to raise the alert level. At 2:21 a.m., the air raid sirens began to wail, piercing through the quiet of the night. Across the city, blackout orders were issued, plunging Los Angeles into darkness. Residents were instructed to take cover, while the military scrambled to respond. Searchlights were activated, sweeping the skies as anti-aircraft crews took their positions, aiming to the sky. At 3:07 a.m., the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade opened fire. The sound of anti-aircraft guns shattered the silence, their cannons unleashing over 1,400 shells into the dark night sky. Witnesses reported seeing glowing objects illuminated by searchlights, moving slowly and deliberately above the sky. The scene was otherworldly. Explosions lit up the darkness and tracer rounds streaked across the sky. Despite the heavy artillery barrage, the mysterious object remained unscathed. Witnesses described them as large and glowing, sometimes resembling a disc or saucer. Some accounts mention formations of a smaller object moving in tandem, defying explanation. For over an hour, the military continued firing. Shrapnel rained down on the city, damaging buildings and vehicles. Yet, no wreckage fell from the sky. No enemy planes were shot down, and no casualties were reported. By 4:14 a.m., the all clear was sounded, and the barrage came to an end. But the questions were only beginning. The aftermath of the event was chaotic. Residents emerged from their homes to find their neighborhoods littered with shrapnel and debris. Many were in shock, wondering what they had just witnessed. Theories began circulating almost immediately. Some believe it was a Japanese air raid, while others whispered about extraterrestrial visitors. The military, for its part, struggled to provide answers. Initial reports suggested enemy aircraft had been spotted, but no evidence of an attack were ever found. The Navy quickly dismissed the idea of a Japanese air raid, citing the lack of damage or recovered wreckage. Instead, the official explanation pointed to a false alarm triggered by a weather balloon. According to this theory, the initial radar contact was misinterpreted, and the barrage was a result of war jitters and overactive imaginations. But not everyone was convinced. Eyewitnesses to the event described scenes that defy the official narrative. Some residents reported seeing a massive object hovering silently above the city, illuminated by the searchlights and untouched by anti-aircraft fire. Others spoke of smaller, fast-moving objects that darted through the sky with impossible speed and agility. One witness, an air raid warden named George, described the object as something straight out of a science fiction novel. He recalled seeing a glowing disc-like craft that seemed to defy gravity, hovering effortlessly as shells exploded around it. Another account came from a woman named Katie, who lived near Santa Monica. She claimed to have seen a bright cigar-shaped object flying low over her neighborhood. It wasn't a plane, she insisted. It was something else. Something I'd never seen before. Over the years, the Battle of Los Angeles has been the subject of intense speculation. Skeptics argue that the event was nothing more than a combination of mass hysteria and wartime paranoia. They pointed to the stress of living under constant threat of attack, suggesting that nerves were so frayed that even the faintest anomaly could trigger a massive response. But UFO enthusiasts see things differently. They believe the event was a genuine encounter with an extraterrestrial craft, or perhaps multiple crafts. They argued that the military's inability to shoot down the object, despite firing thousands of rounds, suggests it was not of earthly origin. Some even speculate that the government may have recovered debris or evidence from the incident, but chose to cover it up. After all, this was a time when national security trumped public transparency. Could the Battle of Los Angeles have been an early case of UFO secrecy? Adding to the mystery is the historical context of the event. Just weeks later, a Japanese submarine had shelled an oil refinery near Santa Barbara, stoking fears of an invasion. The attack on Pearl Harbor was still fresh, and the military was on high alert for any signs of enemy activity. But it wasn't just the threat of war that made the skies seem mysterious. In the years following the Battle of Los Angeles, reports of UFO sightings began to surge across the country. Some researchers believe the event marked the beginning of America's fascination with flying saucers and extraterrestrial life. In recent decades, declassified military documents and radar logs have shed some light on the incident, but not enough to solve the mystery. While these records confirm that something was detected on the radar that night, they offer little explanation as to what it was. Modern investigators have also revisited the eyewitness accounts, analyzing them for consistency and credibility. Many of these stories align with patterns seen in other UFO sightings, such as descriptions of glowing objects and erratic flight paths. The Battle of Los Angeles remains one of the most confusing events in American history. For some, it's a cautionary tale about the dangers of paranoia and misinformation. For others, it's evidence of a deeper truth, a reminder that we may not be as alone in the universe as we think. Even today, the event continues to inspire debate and intrigue. Was it a case of mistaken identity? An enemy attack that never happened? Or a close encounter with the unknown? The answers may never be fully uncovered. Thank you for watching. I am the Veiled Spectre, and I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay informed of future uploads. There are many more stories to share, and I look forward to having you join me again. And remember, the shadows follow you everywhere.